Chicago schools will close for a fourth day on Monday as teachers refuse to return for in-person learning, forcing a group of Chicago parents to take their fight to court. Jackie Spinner has experienced the burden of remote learning as both a Chicago professor and a mom of three, and says canceling school is not sustainable or responsible. My kids are not okay, she writes. Jackie joins us now, along with Chicago dad and former educator Alberto Molina. Jackie, Alberto, thank you so much for being here. I wish it was under better circumstances, as you know better than anybody else. Chicago schools completely closed. Lori Lightfoot attempting to play hardball. It seems her kids are in private school. It doesn't really affect her personally. Jackie, what is the impact on kids in Chicago who aren't in school and don't know when they'll go back, and there's a standoff with the unions there?
Thanks for having me. Well, my kids are struggling. They've struggled all week. I wish that they could at least be online with their teachers. We're trying to do work. They're communicating with their teachers. I'm texting some of the work that they're doing, and they want to be in school, whether it's online or in the classroom. But we're just not going to have school. It isn't acceptable for them.
Of course, it's not, Alberto. The unions refusing to come back. They were first in line for vaccinations, first in line for boosters, all the medical protocols. There's been money invested in schools, yet they're still refusing. Why are they not going back to work?
It just seems like a power play, and enough is enough. With all due respect to the other guest, I'm so sorry for what her kids are going through, for all parents are going through, but enough is enough. Kids need in-person learning. This is the fifth time in less than 3.5 years that our children have been denied the opportunity to a free public school education in person, and this is going back to the strike of October 2019. It just seems like a power play, very inappropriate. Our kids are being held hostage, and, you know, adults can have disagreements, but keep the kids out of it. They need their education. They need their services. They need all of their supports, extracurricular activities, and we're just going to go further and further behind.
Jackie, I want to break down Alberto's point just a little bit. Here are the demands that the union is making. So this is a showdown. Showdown over what? So they've already been vaccinated. All of those things have already been provided. Now they want negative PCR tests for anyone who returns to school. They want 300 testing sites, which we know we don't have enough of right now. They want special medical grade masks for all staff and students. And then the principals need to have the authority to take classes remote. At what point, Jackie, are these demands? I mean, what if everybody else who had a job other than teaching under the shield of a union could make these types of demands, who deem themselves essential and really are essential for kids? I mean, why are we not doing more to call out the unions for just not working?
Well, I think, well, first of all, they are working, right? I mean, I've had to pivot one of my college
classes.
They're not working.
They're not working. They're literally not working. The kids are not in the class. They're not showing up. 75% of them voted not to show up.
Well, I've taught online, and let me tell you, it's a lot more work than teaching in the classroom.
But it's no. I had kids on a Zoom call yesterday in my class, and they're staring like zombies. There's no way they're getting, even if teachers are pedaling harder than ever, there's no way they're getting the quality of education they get in the classroom. Teachers know that. You're an educator. You know that.
Of course not. Remote is not a better option than in person. I think that, but I also don't think it's unrealistic to ask teachers what measures would be appropriate for our kids to return to school. One of the things we're not talking about here in Chicago is our low vaccination rates among the students themselves. It's something like 16%. And, you know, and that
But Jackie, the students are not affected. I mean, at what point do teachers look at the side? Now we know that with Omicron, teachers are just as likely to get infected as someone who is unvaccinated at this point. And kids have never been affected by COVID-19. So what's the fear factor that is infected teachers, where they're now saying the kids aren't vaccinated, which the parents should get to choose, so we won't go back to the classroom? Like, where does it end? Does it ever end?
I mean, the pediatric ICUs are full of kids with COVID, and I think that if you have, I have 3 kids who all have special
many of which have
services.
others.
So,
Okay.
did you invite me
I
on
mean,
here to yell at me?
I expected. This is an interesting debate because you're arguing for some level of online education, that the unions really aren't part of the problem here, and that kids need to get vaccinated to solve it. There's plenty of kids that are sick. That's true, but vast majority of them are not affected by COVID.
Here's what I'm arguing for. I'm arguing for the two sides to come together and come up with a resolution, some kind of resolution, so that my kids aren't caught in the middle of it. I mean, I think Alberto is right. We're seeing this political fight happening in Chicago. It happens time and time again, and the kids get caught in the middle between the rhetoric on both sides. And I'm tired of that. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted trying to parent my kids and do my job. I've been doing this for almost 2 years now. I want my kids in school. I want them to be safe in school. And if they're not going to be in school, I want them to be able to log onto a computer, as ugly as that is and as hard as it is. I have an autistic kid. My autistic son does not do well with remote learning. He needs to be in the classroom. I want him to be in the classroom when it's safe.
Alberto, last word.
I'm a former teacher, a former principal. This is inappropriate and unacceptable. I love teachers. I'm pro-teacher. My family's pro-teacher. But there is a growing resentment with the teachers union. I think it's time we need to start having conversations about accountability. What is the Chicago Public School Teachers Union going to do to make up for all of this lost learning? How are we going to hold them accountable? They're receiving their salaries, their health benefits, other benefits. How are we going to start to hold them accountable? And then finally, we heard from Mayor Lightfoot, but I'd like to hear from our local, state, and national leaders. Where do you stand with the parents and families, the children of Chicago Public Schools, or with the teachers union? I'd like to know where President Biden stands on this issue.
Yeah, unions are being exposed for what they really are, which are political machines that protect their priorities and don't necessarily put kids and parents first at all. Jackie and Alberto, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck to kids in Chicago. It's amazing.